Yo, peace, y'all already know who it is. Asharenu. We back in this motherfucker. Today we're gonna talk about how to accelerate your mathematics. Okay. It's pretty windy out here today, so let me actually make sure that I have this good. Okay. Now today we're dealing with the 5th degree. We are dealing with the 5th degree, the number 5, or the deity Sobek. S-O-B-E-K. Peace, peace. What up? What up, Marvin? What's the deal? What's the deal? We good. It's pretty hot today, but it's kind of windy. Y'all probably can hear the wind in the background, so I got the headphones in so it won't be too much wind interference. But it's hot, but it's windy, so it's good. You know what I mean? So, we have sun every day on the West Coast, but I'm glad it's spring because once the summer come, it's just gonna be dry. It's gonna be triple digits and it's gonna be dry. So right now we got a little wind coming in, so it's pretty good. So, you can come out here, you can chill, go to the park, get a workout in, you know what I mean? Do whatever you want to do without, just having sweat all over your face, have to have a towel. So we pretty good right now. I think it's about maybe in the high 90s right now. So we good in terms of the weather. In terms of the energy, we definitely heavy with the Mercury energy. Like I said, today we're dealing with the 5th degree. So we're dealing with the number Mercury, the number of Mercury, Sobek, the number 5, supreme mathematics. That's power, supreme alphabet. That's equality, the 5th letter, the letter E, right? So why are we dealing with the 5th degree today? We're dealing with the 5th degree because this is how you accelerate your mathematics. So once you get to a point and once you get to a position where you kind of got your formulas on deck. What do I mean by your formulas? Whether you're working with symbols, whether you're working with sigils, whether you're working with deities, whatever your method of, or whatever your method is to connect with the spirit realm, well, however you do it, because everybody has their own personal techniques and methods of divination, all good. So whatever path you take to connect with your higher self, your intuition, 6th sense, 7th sense, so many ways to define this, but it's talking about the same process. You start off, you may just work with one energy at a time. You may just want to work with the energy of the sun. You may just want to work with the energy of Saturn, just to get familiar with how the energies work by themselves. You know what I mean? That's really the number 4, right? What's up, Dragon OG? What's up? What's up? Peace and light. Peace and light. I see you. I don't know how to pronounce your name, so I'm not going to embarrass myself. But I see you. Was it Pooh? Was it Tony or Tonya? Just forgive me. But peace, everybody tuning in. So with the number 4, 313, what's up? Shout out to the Midwest. You know what I mean? We already know. Shout out to Chicago, Cleveland, Detroit, Kansas City. You know what I mean? So on and so forth. Shout out to the whole Midwest. You know what I mean? Definitely. So when you're working with the number 4 is just to get you familiar with the symbols. Shout out to 405. What's up? What's up? You know what I mean? Trust me, if you want to shout out your shit, if you want to shout out your city, I got you. You know what I mean? We always showing love. We show love to everybody's land. You know what I mean? We walk all planes of existence. You know what I mean? So shout out everybody's city. You know what I mean? Put up your area code. If you feeling a certain type of way, put up your area code. But let's get back on point. So dealing with the number 4, 732. Shout out 732. Y'all already know. Shout out LA. Pomona, shout out Pomona, shout out California. Y'all already know what it is. Y'all already know what it is. Big shout out to the West Coast. A lot of love on the West Coast. A lot of love. Beautiful city. Beautiful city the whole way. All the way to the north to the south. What's up? The 510. Shout out to the 510. Shout out. Shout out 770. Shout out to ATL. Definitely Atlanta showed a lot of love. You know what I mean? Atlanta definitely gonna have to be like my second home. You know what I mean? Atlanta definitely showed a lot of love. So shout out to Atlanta. You know what I mean? It's all love. So Getting back to it. So when you're working with the number 4, this is getting you familiar with the sigils, right? Yeah, you already know Atlanta is in the house. You're dealing with your sigils. However you tune in, whatever your methods of divination is. Once you get to the number 5, now you start to work with multiple things at once, right? So you start off getting familiar with everything, right? Okay, this is how Saturn works. This is how Neptune works. This is how Uranus works. This is how the number 1 works. This is how 5 works, yada, yada, yada. Now you want to work with multiple numbers at the same time, because when you start to work with multiple numbers at the same time, you start to accelerate your mathematics in the sense of you can perceive more than one reality at the same time. What do I mean by that, perceiving more than one reality? And again, if it's too windy, y'all let me know, so if I can switch locations. But if y'all can hear me just fine, then we good to go. So once you make it to the number 5, once you make it to the number of power, or once you make it to the degree of power, now you're working with multiple formulas at one time. So let me give you an example. Again, let's just say you're working with the number 1, the number of the sun. But you want to also work with the number of Jupiter, which is the number 3. So instead of not working with the sun, then working with Jupiter, you can work with the number 1 and the number 3. Now, how would that manifest in somebody's reality? We know that the number 3 is a number of expansion. We know that the number 1 is a number of integration, being able to harmonize all of the individual elements into one collective whole. So the sun is teaching you that science. Then the science of Jupiter is teaching you how to expand, how to go to the next level, how to broaden your horizons in terms of mentally, studying things such as philosophy, studying things such as spirituality, studying religion, studying various schools of thought so that you can become universal when you're thinking. So it don't matter who you're talking to on the planet, you will be able to relate to everybody because you are at least familiar with their way of life. You may not know who this person is, but you are at least familiar with how they move about because you study their religion, you study their way of life. So you are at least able to relate on that level, or you are at least able to relate on a music level. You are familiar with the music, you're familiar with the traditions and the cultures. Because again, we are universal people, so we don't need to limit ourselves to just one landmass or just one type of person or a collective. We can expand to all walks of life, to all human families on the planet Earth. So, working with the number 1 and the number 3, we know that 1 and 3 add up to the number 4, but we don't need to deal with that just yet. But let's start. How do you work with the number 1 and the number 3, or any combination of anything, whatever it is that you're working with? How do you perceive both of these realities at the same time? Because you start to see, okay, if you understand, once again, the sun represents integration, how to harmonize all of these individual elements into one collective whole. And again, the number 3 is working with being able to broaden your horizons, to be able to think on a higher caliber. So when you keep all these thoughts in your mind, because this is really all it's doing, it's really just keeping things on the forefront of your mind. So when you're dealing with the number 1, it's just you keeping certain principles at the forefront of your mind. When you're working with the number 3, you just keeping certain thoughts in the forefront of your mind, because again, all these elements are within us. We just bring certain things to the surface, then we just push certain things to the subconscious. We bring certain things to our conscious, and we push other things to the subconscious, so that when we want to focus on certain things, we can reduce it to a number. So whatever it is that you're trying to do, you want to push that to the forefront. So again, because I'm talking about how to accelerate your mathematics, that's a number 5. So it don't matter what you want to do in life, it can be broken down to a certain number, or it can be broken down to a certain planetary energy. Once you figure out what planetary energy or what number that resonates with whatever you're trying to do in your life, then you work with that particular number so it can keep certain thoughts at the forefront of your mind so that it can help you accelerate to that state of being, or being able to think in that state of consciousness so that you can excel with whatever it is that you're trying to do. So when you start to do multiple things at once, so let's just say you may start off working with 1 and 3, like I said, but then you want to work with, let's just say you want to work with the number 479. The number 4, the number 7, and the number 9. So how do you start to stack these things together so that you can perceive more? So once you get a grip on working with one number or one planetary energy, and you are familiar with it to the point where it becomes second nature, So when something stands out to you that has something to do with the energy of the sun, or when something stands out to you that has something to do with the energy of Jupiter, you can automatically perceive it. So you know, as you are going through your life, there's going to be certain events that happen around to you or around you. It may not necessarily be happening to you. It may be happening in front of you. It may be happening on the side of you. It may be happening in the back of you. But if it's happening anywhere in your cipher and that you can pick up on it, you know that that has an influence. It's trying to tell you something. It's like your mind is manifesting outwardly, trying to teach you a lesson, because this is the energy that you're working with. So once you can perceive these things, and you want to perceive multiple things, you start to look at things where it's kind of like the Las Vegas Strip. If anybody's familiar with it, I'm pretty sure everybody has at least heard about the Las Vegas Strip, even if you've never been to the Las Vegas Strip. But to give you some background, just to make the point, they say the Las Vegas Strip is able to generate more money than any strip or any street anywhere in the world. It generates more money in a single strip of street. The single street generates more money than any street in the world. Now, we also understand that Las Vegas is in the middle of a fucking desert, specifically the Mojave Desert. If we want to be detailed, it's right in the middle of the Mojave Desert. And Mojave just means the flatlands. So you have mountains all around Las Vegas. Then you have the flatlands. So the flatlands is called the Mojave Desert, where you can actually build stuff. It's actually flat. So it don't matter what direction you look, you're going to see mountains all around you, because we are right in the middle of mountains. So in the middle of this desert, in the middle of nowhere, not necessarily close to other cities. You know, you may be in certain cities where you may be able to drive an hour away and you can go to another city. You may be in one city, you may be an hour away from the next city, you may be 2 hours away from the next city. You know, in Vegas, you at least have to drive at least 3 hours to get to another major city. So you're right in the middle of a desert. Peace, what's up, Moon Spirit? So, even though we right in the middle of nowhere, right in the middle of the Mojave Desert, it's still a strip that's able to generate an infinite amount of money. Now, to the conscious mind, you know exactly why that is. I'll tell you why. Once you break down Las Vegas, Las, L-A-S, Vegas, V-E-G-A-S, you get the number 5. Actually, you get the number 95, but because 9 reduces itself to the same number, you get the number 5. So, we're dealing with the number 5. What's another city that generates a lot of currency that also breaks down to the number 5? New York, specifically Manhattan. Manhattan breaks down to 11, but you know, when you're writing a letter to New York, you don't put Manhattan, New York, you put New York, New York, right? Like if you write, it say New York, New York, New York, New York, which breaks down to number 5. So we have 2 instances, one on the East Coast and one on the West Coast, that both break down to the number 5, that both of these cities generate, you say, an infinite amount of currency. Like the mathematics are accelerated in these particular cities, in New York and Las Vegas. Now you can, trust me, any city you break down that breaks down to the number 5, you're going to see an accelerated amount of mathematics generated through the city. Now, what does Las Vegas and New York have in common? The digital age. What do I mean by that? Las Vegas is ran by what? It's all about the nightlife, right? It's all about the neon lights. It's like you're in like a video game, right? You're like in an adult video game. You can literally have whatever experience you want because, again, you're at the Strip. You can do whatever you want on the Strip. You go to New York, everything is all about technology. It's not too much nature. You know what I mean? You're not going to really be able to find there's parks all over the place. You're not going to, you got Central Park, but you're not going to be able to find parks all over the place. However, what you do find is everybody has free Wi-Fi. I'm not going to say everybody has free Wi-Fi, but you have these towers. If you've ever been to Manhattan, you have these towers that generate Wi-Fi codes. So anybody can pretty much have access to Wi-Fi. So their technology game is advanced. Whereas you go to the West Coast, they don't have anything like that in existence. I think New York is the only place I've been that has something like that. It could be happening in other cities. I'm not sure, but New York is the only place that I've been that is that advanced in their technology. But of course, on the flip side of that, they allow you access to free Wi-Fi so that they can collect your data, so that they can sell the data that's being generated from the people logging in, so that they can sell it to advertisers. And you know what I mean, they start to advertise all these ads, yada, yada, yada. You know the game, there's always a way around it, but I'm just giving you an example of accelerated mathematics. So I'm giving you cities. So now we took it to numbers, we taking it to letters, now we're taking it to cities. Because all these things relate, even though all these things seem to be separate, but all these things relate. Now, so if we're dealing with a place like New York, or we're dealing with a place like Las Vegas, we understand that it's dealing with the number 5, you can say stands for extraterrestrial mathematics. What do I mean by that? The number 5 represents extraterrestrial mathematics because it's dealing with alien technology. Maybe I'm going a little bit too fast. Let me slow down. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up, Nancy, representing the LV? Shout out to you. Shout out to you. You know what I mean? Las Vegas is definitely a very mysterious place once you are tapped in. And that's for any city, though. For any city, for example, like Atlanta, because, you know, Atlanta is in the house. You have Atlanta, but then you have Atlantis. These are all streams of consciousness. So let's just say you went to visit Atlanta, you would see whatever it is that you was going, whatever it is that you see. You know, beautiful women, beautiful atmosphere, a lot of trees. You know what I mean? Very beautiful place. You know, if you like that type of atmosphere, you know, if you like to be secluded, if you like to be, you know, mysterious, Atlanta, you know what I mean? You can get lost. It looks like you like, you know, it's some streets that don't even have sidewalks. They just have houses and streets. You know what I mean? So, but if that's your thing, then that's your thing. You know, of course you have other places like, you know what I mean? I'm trying to think. I'm not that familiar with the city, only been there one time. But just to give you an example, you got Atlanta, which is where the average person is. 85% of the population is in the consciousness of Atlanta. But then you have about 5% of the people who's within the consciousness of Atlantis. These are just states of consciousness. Now, what is the difference between being in the consciousness of Atlanta and Atlantis? Atlantis, again, is dealing with another example of accelerated mathematics. Whenever we think about places like Atlantis or places like Lemuria, we're dealing with advanced technology. We're dealing with extraterrestrial mathematics. This is also why Atlanta is booming the way it is now. It's becoming like, you know, it's the Mecca of the South. You know, I already talked about that. The video got deleted, which I understand why, because when I was making, I made like 5 or 6, 7 videos about Atlanta, you know, when I was up in a hotel room, you know, I was just doing videos. And now, you know, I was speaking about Atlanta, it's kind of, my first impressions was like, it's kind of weird, you know what I mean? I got to get used to this energy. But once I got used to the energy and I made a video, that video got deleted because I think in my mind that I started speaking about Atlantis and how to connect the dots. And they're like, no, it's, you know, they got to take this off. This ain't supposed to be said. And this is why I said there's certain things that I realize, you know, if I say certain things and the fucking video gets deleted. That's why I said last video that there's things beyond YouTube. You know, that's why I have the website and all that, because there's certain things that I just don't speak about because I don't, you know what I mean? It's like you gotta play ball when you deal with YouTube. You gotta play ball when you in somebody else's court. You know what I mean? So I realized I have to make exclusive videos for my own website so that way I don't have to worry about stuff like that. So just trying to give y'all a watered down version without, you know what I mean, getting too crazy, but moving right along. So in any city, you have whatever the city is. I'm just using Atlanta as an example. You have Atlanta, but then you have Atlantis. These are all states of consciousness, depending on how far you can tap into your spirituality. So the point of tapping into your spirituality is that you can get in tune with this Atlantis vibe if you was in Atlanta or any city. So when you start getting in tune with your spirituality, now you can tune into that hyper speed or that hyper consciousness that exists in every city. And once you are able to tap into this hyper consciousness, now you're able to perceive things that you otherwise wouldn't perceive. What do I mean by that? There are certain things that are invisible to us because we are not vibing at a certain level. We may be vibing a little bit higher, or we may be vibing a little bit lower. And again, I don't want to use higher and lower as in good and bad, or you need to raise your frequency or you need to lower your frequency. It all depends on what you're trying to do. Some things require you to be a little bit lower. You need to slow down your vibration. Then certain things require you to amp your vibration. It all depends on what you're trying to do. So it ain't about you need to keep your vibration up here or you need to keep it down here. It's just all about what you're trying to do. Everything operates at a certain speed. So getting back to my point, there are certain things that are invisible to you that you cannot perceive due to the vibration you may be on for a specific reason. You may not want to see certain things and you may want to see other things. For example, there's a lot of people that you just don't see that are essentially invisible. Let's just say women who are considered dime pieces, right? Whatever that means. I'm just using terminology that people are familiar with. The dime pieces, right? The 10, whatever that may mean, because again, everybody has their own version of what a 10 may mean. But let's just say you really don't see these women. You really don't see them. It's like they're in and out, in and out. You really don't see them if you're not on that vibration. However, when you start tuning into Atlantis, you start perceiving things that are invisible to you or that was invisible to you. That's people, that's places, and that's things that you just don't see because you're not operating on a level of accelerated mathematics. And it's not for everybody. Again, some people need to start off to where they can familiarize themselves with energies on an individual level before they start working with various energies at the same time. So before you start accelerating in mathematics, you want to become familiar with the energy so that you can perceive it when you see it. So once you are familiar with the energy, now you can see multiple things happening at once, and you are accelerating yourself. Now you are able to perceive things that you otherwise wouldn't be able to see. Also, opportunities. Certain opportunities are available to you that otherwise wouldn't be available to you because you were not vibing on that level. So you just need to ask yourself, what level do you want to vibe on, and how do you get in that frequency? Let me give you another example. There are some people that are lazy, and there are some people that are active, right? There are some people who just get up, go to work, get their money, then come back home and don't leave their home all the way up until they have to go to work again, or they have to, run some errands, or, do something that they need to do, pay some bills or whatever. They just go out to run errands and they take their ass right back home, right? So you can say they don't really do too much. They just get their money, keep their bills paid, and they just chilling. Nothing wrong with that if that's what they choose to do. You also have people that are active. Let's just say, now you got a motherfucker who finds a reason to leave the house. Oh, I need to hit the gym. I need to see what's going on in the local parks. I need to see, how the women is looking today. I need to see what the color or what the frequency is of the day. So every day you're going to start seeing patterns every day. So when you wake up every day, you go outside and you start, okay, what color am I seeing the most? What numbers am I seeing the most? You know what I mean? What patterns are coming to me more than other patterns? So you are able to pick up, because again, every day the energy changes, every day the vibration changes. And people who are unaware, they still are aware on a subconscious level. So let's just say it may be a day where you see the color blue more so than any other color. We know that the color blue resonates with the planet Jupiter. Or maybe you don't know, but again, when you're dealing with colors, you can break down certain colors in it, or you can say the dark blue resonates with the third eye if you're going by the chakra system. It all depends on what system you go by. There is no right or wrong, good or bad, a right way or a bad way to do it. It all depends on what makes sense to you. You find out what makes sense to you. So once you start getting familiar with the patterns of every day, because every day is going to be a certain pattern or multiple patterns that stand out more than other patterns. Once you start getting familiar with it, let's just say we're dealing with the active person. So you got the active person who is finding an excuse to be outside, to find an excuse to go somewhere. I'm just about to go check out the mall. I'm about to go see what's going on at the mall. I'm not gonna buy anything. I just want to see who's there. I just want to see what's going on. I just want to see what the city is doing today. I just want to see or get in tune or get into the mix of the vibration of the city. Or I'm just going, let me see what's going on over here. Let me see what's going on the west side of the city. Let me see what's going on the east side of the city. Let me see what's going on the north side. Let me see what's going on the south side. Whatever you feel inspired to do. So for those type of people, you're going to be exposed to more things. You're going to have access to more information so that you can gather certain details about what's going on today in the city. So once you start gathering details to know what's going on in the city, now you know what to tap into. So let's just say you're seeing patterns of the number 1 and the number 3, like I was talking about in the first half of the video. You start to see patterns. Okay, I'm seeing the number 1 and the number 3 manifest more so than all the other numbers. So now that you know that, okay, the pattern or the frequency of the day, it may be the day of Jupiter, which is Thursday, but you may see the energy of the sun and the energy of Jupiter more so than other energies. And again, I'm talking about Atlantis shit. So again, if this is not really resonating with you, this is why I'm talking about accelerated mathematics, so that you can get on a frequency, so that you can understand how the mind of a scientist works, and how do you approach everything outside of, just reading a book, just gathering information. This is how you start to apply it, and this is how you go out and you see the world, and this is the type of mindset that you take out into the world. So once you pick up on the vibration of the city, so that you can tap into that Atlantis. So you may be in Atlanta, but you tapping into Atlantis. So you going around the city, finding out, okay, how do I tap into Atlantis today? Because every day you're going to have to tap into Atlantis a different way. It's not going to be the same way every day, because again, every day the energy changes. So once you figure out how to tap in based on what patterns that you are exposed to every day, because again, we are creating our own reality. So there's a reason why you are seeing certain things, or there's a reason why you are seeing certain patterns, because it's based on what you need to work with that is specific to you. So there's a reason why those two people start fighting each other right in front of you. There's a reason why those two women start arguing in the back of you. There's a reason why you're seeing those bad bitches that's wearing all red. There's a reason why you're seeing whatever man that you're attracted to, whatever your type is. There's a reason why you're seeing all this stuff. Nothing happens by coincidence. Nothing happens by accident. So everything that happens within your cipher that you can perceive, there's always a reason for it. The question is, you figuring out what that reason is. And it's not necessarily that you're taking every situation seriously. You just realize that, okay, I done seen this for the 3rd time today. It ain't even noon. I done seen this happen 3 times. I done seen this particular type. I done seen this. I done seen that. I done seen this. So you just step out into the real world, stepping out into the real world and picking up on certain patterns that you are perceiving. Again, even if you're just walking down the street, you're just walking somewhere where other people are. You just want to be in the mix so that you can pick up on the frequencies. Tapping into the Atlantis. Once you tap into the Atlantis, once you pick up on the frequencies, then you can start working your magic. You can start to accelerate the mathematics. So once you identify the energy, once you identify the frequency, now you can manipulate it. Once you realize, okay, it's the number 1, or it's the number 3, or it's both the number 1 and both the number 3. I said that crazy. It's both the number 1 and the number 3. Once you identify that pattern, now you know, okay, I can start to chant. Let's just say you want to use mantras. It's a number 1 or number 3. So okay, so today I'm going to chant 111 and I'm going to chant 333. Right? So for an hour, I may want to chant 111. Then for the next hour, I want to chant 333. So for a whole hour, 111, 111, 111, 111, 111, 111, 111, 111, 111, 111, 111, 111, 111, 111, 111, 111, 111. All in your mind, right? You're just keeping this frequency, you're keeping this thought form on your mind. So everything that's associated with 111 you're going to start to manifest that, because now you're giving it energy. You're breathing life into it because you're keeping it on your mind, and you're not allowing your mind to just be bombarded with all this extra information. So you open up your mind to gather the information, but then you close your mind and start to project the energy that you want to project so that you can manipulate your environment. So 111, 111, or 333, 333, 333, 333, 333, 333, whatever the number may be, whatever the frequency may be, whatever the planetary energy may be. Or again, you may want to imagine a certain color in your mind. However you choose to do it, long as you are putting in some type of work. So once you are putting in this work, you want to perceive, okay, what's going on around me now that I'm projecting this energy and I'm emitting this frequency. Let me see how the universe responds, or how my higher mind responds, or what is it that I project, what is it that I create, and how can I, in other words, how can I see it when it manifests? So let's just say 111, 111, 111, 111, 111. So let's just say you're doing that, then you see an image of the sun. You see the symbol of the sun. Let's just say you're walking down the street, somebody has a car, right? They drive right past you, and on the side of their car, they have a symbol of the sun. And for whatever reason, you just so happen to be looking in that direction at that particular time. Now you see, okay, there's a reason why I was looking in that particular direction, and why I saw the symbol of the sun, or why I saw something that resonates with the energy of the sun. There are certain symbols that resonate with the energy of the sun. This is why I encourage everybody to study symbols. When you study symbols, that you can realize, like, okay, there's the sun, then there's many variations of the sun. So there's many symbols that are variations of the sun that still represents solar energy. Just like there's energies or symbols that resonate with the planet Jupiter, then there's variations. So you may not directly see the symbol of the sun, you may see a variation. But again, once you study symbols and once you see how things can mix and match, you just type in sun symbols or you type in Jupiter symbols, and you see the various examples of what you possibly can see. Again, there's symbols all around our reality. Everything is a symbol. So once you start to discover the esoteric meaning of these symbols, you start to tap into Atlantis. That's what it's all about, tapping into the esoteric or the occult realm of what all these symbols mean. Now, once you tap into what all of these symbols mean, because you putting in that hard work, you doing your studies, so that you can pick up on it and that you can recognize it when you see it, and you do this as a way of life. So every day you putting in this work, you are accelerating your mathematics, because you know that every day the style is different. Every day the frequency is different, and every day you putting in that work to tap into the variations of these frequencies. And you know what the variations is because you're studying the symbols, you're studying the sigils, you're studying whatever it is that you study, however you tap in. So once you start tapping in to Atlantis, to Lemuria, to the underworld, to your subconscious mind, to the dream world, to the astral plane, and you realize that, okay, because I'm emitting these frequencies, now I'm projecting things into my reality as opposed to if I'm receiving things. There's a difference between you are receiving information, then you are projecting information. When you start to project information using mantras, then there's certain things that are different. And again, anybody who has ever used mantras know exactly what I'm talking about. Different events happen when you are using mantras as opposed to when you're not using mantras. And if you are not certain about that, I challenge you to do a 30-day challenge. Write down the details of all 30 days. One day you use mantras, then the next day you don't, the next day you do, the next day you don't, and you want to document 30 days of you using it. One day you use it, one day you don't, one day you use it, one day you don't. And you see the differences between when you use it and when you didn't use it. And again, don't get too caught up on a specific day. Just when you go back after 30 days and you read back on your notes and you see what happened and what didn't happen and what days it did happen and what days it did happen, then you will see that, okay, obviously there's something to this science, because when I was doing these mantras, certain things happened that otherwise wouldn't have been happening when I wasn't using the mantras. This is how you accelerate your mathematics. So there's a difference between receiving information and emitting information. Where somebody's leaving comments, trying to So true peace. What's up, Afro Pick? What's up, Jamal? I see everybody. So, yeah, I'm not even keeping on with the comments. What's up? What's up? Peace and love. Peace and love. What kind of mantras, it really don't matter. You just do whatever experiment you want to use. You know what I mean? Affirmations. However, mantras, affirmations, that's what I mean. Whatever it is that you use and whatever works for you, you use it. So you may want to type in mantras and use whatever mantra that sparks your interest. Again, there is no right or wrong way or no specific energy. And again, if you don't know about mantras, then you just use numbers. Just realize, okay, what planets connect with what number, and you just use numbers. So if you don't want to use specific mantras, you don't want to be using like the Egyptian language or the Hindu language or the Indian language. You don't really understand all that. You don't know how to properly pronounce, then you just use numbers. Again, numbers are the language, the mathematical language of the universe. Numbers, so you can always use numbers. So if you don't want to use words, you can use numbers. That's why I was telling you about 111 and 333. So if you don't want to use mantras, use numbers. You know what I mean? Let me see. I read when you work with SH as a god. Who is SH? I don't know who SH, not SH, HS, sorry. I guess with the higher self. So what is SH? I'm not sure what SH. Okay, so I read when you work with your higher self as a god, the angels / archangels no longer assist you. Please explain. Okay. Okay, so what I think you're saying is when you work with your higher self as a god, the archangels no longer assist you. Now, you said you read this. So that means if you read it, that means somebody else said this. So I encourage you, whoever said that, that may be their truth. That may have been what happened to them, but that may not happen to you. If so, for example, okay, there are certain people that like to work with angels and archangels. Of course, everybody doesn't work with demons. You know, everybody's not on the dark side. So this is universal. So everybody's not on that path. Some people want to work with the lighter deities or the lighter angels. No problem. Do whatever floats your boat. So they saying whenever you work with your higher self, the angels or the archangels don't want to work with you. Now, you just need to ask yourself, now, why would that be? Why would angels not work with you when you are connected with your higher self? Isn't that something constructive? Isn't that something that empowers yourself? Why would they distance themselves from you when you're working with your higher self? Unless what we think is angels and archangels aren't really what they claim to be. For example, why would an angel distance themselves from you when you are connected with your higher self, which is supposed to be your divine light? Why would they distance themselves from you if you are ascending? Shouldn't they go get closer to you? Shouldn't they embrace you? Why would they distance themselves from you if you are doing spiritual work? So that you can better connect with them. Because again, angels, you can say, are just angles of light. Angels are just angles of light. Angles of light or frequencies of light. Manifestations of sound. Manifestations of vibration. So why would they separate themselves when you are being constructive in your spiritual work? Really finding out who and what you are and what you're truly capable of. So in other words, you can say either they're not who they say they are, or is this that you don't need them anymore? It can be one or the other. Either they're not who they say they are, or you don't need them anymore. You know what I mean? So what am I talking about? So you can say if you get to a point where you are working with your higher self, you don't need to work with angels anymore or angels of light. You can say they can't serve you anymore because now you are stepping into your divine light. So either way you look at it, either they're not who they said they are, or they are who they said they are, but you just got to a level where you don't really need their assistance anymore. And if that's what it is, then so be it. If you don't need their assistance no more because you are stepping into your divine light, then so be it. You know, so it all depends on how you choose to look at it. You know, no right or wrong, good or bad. Once again, let me take a sip of the drink. Definitely got to stay hydrated in this desert. Like this air is completely dry for those who never been here. Okay. How are the numbers associated with the planets? Okay. The easy answer, or the quick answer, is numbers are spirits. Numbers are intelligence. Why? Because numbers make up the universe. No numbers, no universe. Everything is based in mathematics, right? Everybody is associated with a number. You got a number on your ID. You have a number on your social security card. You got a number on your work ID. You have a number that you have to type in to law. You know what I mean? Everything is numbers. So the universe is based in numbers. So when we talk about planetary energies, it's basically the numbers. It's just giving you the personality of the number. So for example, when I say the number 1 is associated with the sun, that means the number 1 has a personality or a spirit or the intelligence of the sun. It's just giving you details of the personality of the numbers. So let me quickly go down the numbers for those who may not be familiar. The number 1 is the sun. The number 2 is the moon. The number 3 is Jupiter. The number 4 is Rahu, R-A-H-U. The number 5 is Mercury. The number 6 is Venus. The number 7 is K2, K-E-T-U. The number 8 is Saturn. And the number 9 is Mars. That's Vedic astrology, right? Also, if you go by the tree of life, there's a different way. If you go by Western astrology, there's a different way. Choose whichever path that makes sense to you. There is no right or wrong. Just choose whatever path that makes sense to you. So that's basically the numbers and the planets. The planets just give personality to the numbers that already have an intelligence. So if you want to identify the intelligence of the number, the planets just give you the personality. So hopefully that makes sense. Let me see. You mentioned that before we go through many spirits during our lives. Hold on. Let me make sure I'm reading this correctly. You mentioned before that we go through many spirits during our lives. Can you elaborate? Okay, what this means is it's like animal totems. We all have a certain animal totem that travels with us throughout our lives. But then we also have certain animal totems that come and go depending on what we are doing. For example, let's just say, I'll give you my personal example. My personal animal totem that has traveled with me from day one is a bat. However, there are certain animal totems that have came later on, such as cats, such as crows, such as owls, etc., 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 etc. Then there are certain animal totems that have came and gone. Basically, they help you get through a certain part of your life. So let's just say you hit rock bottom. Or let's just say you're in a situation that is completely unfamiliar to you, that you need to basically start from scratch. There may be a particular animal totem that helps you get through that particular phase of your life. And once you get through that phase, then that animal totem leaves you because it was there to help you get through a certain phase of your life. But then there are certain animal totems that stay with you. So when I talk about going through many spirits, there are certain spirits that come to you to assist you with a certain task or a certain duty. Then they leave when the job is complete. You know what I mean? So again, that's really what it is briefly. So there's certain spirits that come to you that assist you to do certain things. Then there's certain spirits that leave. When it's done, there's certain spirits that stay. So again, that's basically like evocation and invocation. The difference between that, the difference between invoking a deity and the difference between bringing up that energy from within you. So there's a way to bring up that whatever energy you need already exists within you, but then there's a way to invoke a certain being or a certain spirit outside of yourself, like creative magical entities for those who understand that science. But it all depends on what you are into. Again, there's many different ways to the esoteric realm and the occult. It all depends on how you look at it. Again, you know, because it's so open-ended, that's why it's so much confusion, because it's so open-ended. You know, there's everybody coming from all walks of life trying to come together in one, you know, collective hold, and it's very possible. We just have to be understanding of each other. Because again, I don't expect everybody to understand my way of life, because your way of life may be different, but that doesn't make your way of life wrong. That doesn't make my way of life right. So if we can see eye to eye with that although I may do things differently, you may do things completely differently, we are all here for the same purpose, which is to know ourself, knowledge of self. Man, know thyself. So as long as we come together on that wave, how you go about doing that and how I go about doing that makes no difference. As long as we have that as a common ground, we good to go. What are my thoughts on armchair occultism? What is armchair occultism? I have no idea what armchair occultism. Basically, define what you mean for me so I can answer it properly. How do I find the animals? Google, just do a Google search. Whatever animal, or in other words, whatever principle an animal is associated with, you just got to type it in. So whatever animal you're drawn to, let's just say you're drawn to frogs. Frogs are associated with psychedelics and the psychedelic realm. So if that's your way, you know, if you are a person that indulges in psychedelics and you like doing that, then you can use the frog as a protection spirit. So when you are going through the psychedelic realms, you can have the frog there as a protection, as opposed to if you're going through all these realms by yourself. So it all depends on what animals that you're drawn to. For example, cats. A lot of people like cats. Cats are guardians to gateways. So whenever you see cats, you know that there's a gateway open somewhere around there. Somebody has opened up a spiritual gateway and it draws cats. So whenever you see cats gathering around, you know that there's a gateway, there's an energy portal open somewhere in this area. You know what I mean? So that's why there's a lot of strange people, you know, around cats, you know, like cat ladies and cat womans, so on and so forth. Crows are like the same thing. Whenever you see crows, you know that there's a spiritual portal open. You know what I mean? So it all depends on what animals you're drawn to. So whatever animal you're drawn to, just type in that animal. So frog, animal totem. Crow, animal totem. Owl, animal totem. So that you can find the spiritual principles associated with the animal. Grasshoppers. You may, damn, I saw 5, 6, 7 grasshoppers a day. What is grasshoppers associated with? Grasshopper, animal totem. Grasshoppers is all about astral travel and taking the leap of faith. So whenever you start seeing grasshoppers, you know that it's indication that you should be taking a leap of faith. You can say flies. Whenever you see flies is all about death and rebirth. It's time to regenerate your life. It's time to renew your history. It's time to do something different. You know what I mean? It's time to put all your energy into one thing and to evolve to the next thing. So it all depends on what animal is drawn to you. So again, this is what I mean. You just start to notice certain patterns. Like, oh, damn, I just saw this 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. Now, if you see something one time, you know, that may just be whatever. So I'm talking about things that you're seeing 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different times. You know what I mean? Like some people see 1111, some people see 222, 333, whatever. But now that you know that that's the number of the moon, or that's the number of the sun, or that's the number of Jupiter, now you can take it a step further. What is associated with Jupiter? What is associated with the moon? What is associated with the sun? And that's what I mean. There's different variations of the symbol to the sun. Then again, you have people that have, you may come into contact with people who have a life path for the number 1, or a life path for the number 2, or a life path for the number 3. Or if you break down their name may break down to a number 1, their name may break down to a number 2, their name may break down to a number 3. So that's why you have all this in common. Hey, what's up? For example, hey, what's up? You may meet somebody whose name is John. Hey, what's up? My name is John. So in your mind, you instantly go to work. So John. J is 1, O is 6, so you got 7. Then you got H, which is 8. So you got 7 and 8, which is 15, go to 6. Then 6 going into the N, which is 11, which breaks down to 2. So John breaks down to the number 2. So let's just say you was working with the energy of the moon. You meet somebody named John. So John breaks down to 11, which is the master number 11, also breaks down to a number 2 on the lower scale. So this is what I mean. So instantly, so everybody you meet, okay, yeah, what's your name? Click, you go to work. Boom, you don't have to necessarily ask for the birthday. You don't necessarily got to be you don't have to be invasive for nobody, but everybody will at least share their name. You may not want to ask their birthday or their zodiac sign. You don't have to go that far. As long as you know their name, you go to work. You know what I mean? So you see what principles that are they associated with. So for example, John, you go to the supreme alphabet. You know that J is justice, O is cipher, H is he or her, and in is now an in. So when you put that together, let me just do it quickly. So justice is always present within the cipher, within your cipher. Justice, which is a reward or penalty for your actions. So justice is you will be rewarded when you do good deeds. Not good deeds is in terms of your behavior. Good deeds is being constructive of your thinking and organizing your thoughts. That's a good deed. Organize and construct your thoughts. So justice is always present. So it don't matter what cipher you're in, justice will always be present. You will either receive a reward or a penalty for your actions. You will always receive your just due. So justice is always present within a cipher. He or her, that H, which is he or her, meaning it don't matter if it's a he or her. It don't, the law doesn't take sides. The law don't matter if it's a man or a woman. The law doesn't, you know what I mean? We tend to judge like that. We tend to look at women differently than we look at men. We tend to look at children differently than we look at adults. That's the way we look at things. But if we're talking about divine law and we're talking about divine justice, it's a completely different set of rules. So justice is always present within every cipher, don't matter if it's a woman or a male. And that justice will be inflicted for positive or negative in the here and now or end. So, for example, if a person is living their life in a deconstructive manner, if that's even a word, if they're living their life in a way that takes away from other people, that makes something harder on other people, then you're going to see, you'll be able to see it in their eyes, you'll be able to see it in their aura, you'll be able to see exactly what's going on with this person, just asking basic questions, because they are receiving those penalties for whatever bullshit they may be doing. They are being penalized by it, if you can perceive it. And whatever good deeds that they're doing, they are being rewarded for it. So just by you knowing a person's name, you can find out a lot of information instantly. But you have to know all this stuff by heart. That's why I constantly emphasize or put emphasis on knowing all these things by heart. This is why you study. You study so you can know these things by heart. So when you are actually in the field and all these things are happening right in front of you, again, you don't have to pull out a notebook. You don't have to pull out your phone. You already have it up here. You already have it in here, so you can instantly activate it. Again, that's a problem that most people have, that they miss so many opportunities because they don't have it up here and they don't have it in here. Because if you got it wrote down in a notebook or you got it saved in your phone, but you're going to pull out a phone every situation that happens, you're going to pull out a notebook with every situation, you may have to start off doing that. But that's not how you end up. That may be where you start off, but eventually you put down a pen and you put down a pad and you have it up here and you have it in here so you can instantly activate it. So let me see if the person asked a question. Hold on. You see bees? So bees are associated with the planet Venus, just so you know. So bees is associated with Venus, just in case you didn't know. There's a crow living on my roof just above my room. So this is what I'm talking about. So we are associated with animal totems, but we didn't realize it. So you look up the crow, you look up the bee, and you see what it has to do with you. That's what I'm talking about. So there is no coincidence why you may see bees, and there's no coincidence why the other person may see crows, and there's a crow living in your roof and all that. There's a reason for all this, but you have to project that vibration out or that frequency out so that you can see what it means for you personally. With armchair occultism, I mean someone who studies this information but doesn't apply it to their life. Well, that's exactly what I'm saying by people who study the information, but they never committed to memory. That's exactly what I'm talking about, where if all you do is read books, but you never step outside, you never step out into the field, you never step out and start influencing matter, you know, to me, I don't really see a purpose of doing that. I don't see a purpose of studying the information but not using it. What is the purpose of doing that? Now, let's just say you just a person that you're like, I just want to know. I don't necessarily plan on living my life by occult rules or regulations. I just want to know what the occult is about. Then so be it. If you are the type of person who just wants to know, but who actually doesn't necessarily care to step into this world, you just want to know just for the fuck of it, then so be it. You are within your rights to do so. So if you want to study occultism, but you don't necessarily want to live this out, and you just want to know it, just to say you know it, then so be it. But again, it's not for everybody. Everybody isn't going to be able to operate on an accelerated level of mathematics. So it's not for everybody. So there's no need to judge. So that's why I say, if it's just a person that want to study it just for the fuck of knowing it, so be it. If that, if you just want to be a person that's able to have conversations, so be it. No love lost. No love lost. You know what I mean? Okay. Yeah, so everybody's just letting me know that. So I sparked the thought, so that there's animals all over the place and they all serve a certain purpose. So people, places, and things. So that's what I mean. So when you start operating on the level of accelerated mathematics, then you can see all these things play out in your life. And when you start seeing these things play out in your life, you know that it's not just a coincidence. There's a message there. They're trying to get your attention on the subconscious level so that to take you to the next level. To see, okay, there's a gateway. That bee represents a gateway. That crow represents a gateway. That raven represents a gateway. It represents a spiritual principle that if you embody those spiritual principles, it will take you to another level of life. In life, you go from Atlanta to Atlantis. Tap into those animal totems. Tap into those mathematics. Tap into those planetary frequencies. That's how you go from Atlanta to Atlantis. You know what I mean? Start working with those accelerated mathematical formulas. What's the difference between metaphysics and occultism? Metaphysics is basically, if we be simple, we just keep it simple. Occultism, or the word occult means hidden, right? So something just as occult knowledge means hidden knowledge. Now somebody may say, well, doesn't metaphysical mean the same thing? Doesn't meta mean hidden or below physics or beyond physics? Essentially, yes. So I understand why you answered the question, because they seem like it's like the same thing. But I would say metaphysics is just beyond physics, right? So metaphysics, you can say, is when you start to study the quantum world, quantum physics, right? When you start to study things that happen on a minute level, on a smaller level, you start to study the atoms. You start to study the behavior of atoms and how atoms behave, how we all are atoms, and how we can program our atoms, so on and so forth. You start thinking in terms like that. So when you start thinking about metaphysics, you start thinking about things like that. Now, when we talk about occultism is more like a lifestyle. That's the difference. So somebody may study metaphysics, but may not be an occultist. An occultist is doing sigils. An occultist is making mathematical formulas. An occultist is using mantras. An occultist is taking notes. An occultist is a scientist. When you study metaphysics, again, you just study it just to know it. So you just want to know, okay, I want to know what a bee, what's the metaphysics of a bee? What's the metaphysics of the sun? What's the metaphysics of this? What's the metaphysics of that? Right? So when you study metaphysics, it's just knowing things beyond physics. But occultism is actually practicing the lifestyle beyond physics. So putting your mind in the spirit realm as opposed to just having knowledge of the spirit realm. That's the difference. So metaphysics is a knowledge, occultism is a lifestyle. You know what I mean? Tapping into the lifestyle. So I'm talking more so about occultism, rather as somebody who would talk about metaphysics. They would talk about metaphysics, but they really can't teach you how to tap into it because they don't practice the lifestyle. They may be aware of it. Okay, when the government does this, this is what that really means. When you see these symbols, it don't really mean this, it really means that. Those are metaphysicians. Metaphysicians, oh, this is what the matrix really means, decoders. This is how you decode the matrix. Those are metaphysicians who can show you how to decode things. So what that really means, that don't really mean that, this really means this. So when you see these symbols in that movie, they really mean this and it doesn't really mean that. That's metaphysics. Occultism is, this is how you actually elevate your mentality. This is how you accelerate your mathematics. That's the difference. So hopefully that makes sense. Let me see. Yeah, exactly. Once you start putting in that work, it's a whole different way of life. There's so much you miss without knowing, so that's why we're here. We're here to connect the dots. So don't worry about what you missed, because today is a new day and tomorrow is a new day. So today can be the first day where you start to explore the occultism. So don't worry about what you missed. What is it? You can't miss what you can't measure, or you can't measure what you can't miss, whatever the fucking phrase is. Don't worry about yesterday, just focus on the here and now. So don't worry about that, you know what I mean? You just tap in right now. What's your favorite thing about math? I really don't have a favorite thing. I don't have a favorite thing about math because I like all the shit. I don't necessarily have a favorite number or a favorite way of doing things because I see that we are everything. I may like, let's just say, the number 7 more than the number 9. I may like K2 more than Mars or whatever. But we are all of the numbers. We are all 10 of the numbers. So I like to be well-rounded. You know what I mean? So I like to try different things. I like to work. You know, I'm constantly changing things. I'm constantly switching up. I may work with a certain deity for a week, then move on to another deity. I may work with a particular mathematical formula for a week, and I may switch it up. I may work with 2 weeks, switch it up. I may work for a couple of days, switch it up. It all depends on what's going on. So I don't like to get too stuck into one way of thinking or one thought or one energy. I like to be well-rounded so that when I have conversations like this, I can be well-rounded and I can teach you and tell you that from all the way from the number 1 to the number 9. And I know more about the number 1 and less about the number 9. No, I can tell you a full spectrum of information about each number because I make sure that I am well-rounded and not get too caught up into one thing or another thing. And I focus on all things. So I like all forms of math. So let me take another sip of the drink. So, just giving y'all some pointers for those who may have been confused about certain things, certain things. Just clearing up some things that may have been a little foggy. What would I recommend about fasting for beginners? I would say start off light. Do like the Muslims do. Don't eat from sun up to sundown when you first start. From sun up to sundown. So eat as much as you want in the nighttime or in the morning. But as long as the sun is up, don't eat nothing. So don't worry about fasting a whole 24 hours and all that or a whole day. Don't worry about that for now. So just start out from sun up to sundown. Don't eat nothing. And do that. If you can successfully do that, so do that one day. Fast for one day, take a day off. Fast for one day, take a day off. Fast for another day, take a day off. So one day you fast, one day you don't. One day you fast, one day you don't. You do that for about a week. You start getting in tune with it. Then you say 2 days you eat, 2 days you don't eat. Then one day you eat. Then 2 days you don't. Then one day. So then you go 3 days you do. Then one day you eat, 3 days you do, so on and so forth. It all depends on how far you want to go with it. So once you get up to 3 days where you don't eat for 3 days, you start to see results and you start to see, you know what I mean? Like, okay, like this is the state of mind you be in, not eating solid foods for 3 days. It's crazy. It puts you on a it takes you from Atlanta to Atlantis. So for those who want a shortcut, just don't eat solid foods for 3 days. And you see where your mentality is, for those who are interested in fasting. Do I think the numbers associated with our names, birthdays, creates its own frequency? Are we able to change it? Absolutely. Yes, they do. So the answer is yes to both of your questions. Do they influence our reality or do they have an effect on our frequency? Yes, they do. Because numbers all have a particular energy. They all have a particular intelligence. So yes, they actually do. So your name has a certain vibration, then the day you was born has a certain vibration. So for example, let me give you an example. So like I was talking about John, right? John breaks down to number 11 on the master numbers, then it breaks down to number 2 on the regular numbers, right? But John, let's just say John may have been born on the 18th. So that has an influence as well. So he's influenced by his name, which would give him lunar frequencies, but he was born on the 18th. So now he's influenced by the energy of the sun and Saturn and also Mars, because 1 + 8 = 9. Because 1 + 8 = 9, now he's influenced by the frequency of Mars. So that actually plays a part as well. So when you look at it like that, let me see how an easy way to say this is. See, a lot of people get natal readings, right? A lot of people get natal readings, but they don't get numerology readings. So for all my numerologists, get a numerology reading done by me or whoever you trust. If you truly want to get deeper into the numbers to see how these numbers affect us, then you go get a numerology reading so that you can see, like, everything. Let's say your time of birth, your date of birth, your name, all that influences you. All that has an influence on you. You know what I mean? I don't want to make that too complicated now. The second question was, can we change it? Yes, we can change it. Yes, when you change your name, you change the frequency that you vibrate on. But it's not as simple as just changing your name. You have to write that shit in a certain ink. You know what I mean? See, that goes into a whole deeper science. I really don't talk about that stuff because people don't be asking those type of questions. But since you asked that type of question, when you want to change your name, you have to write it in a certain ink. You have to write it a certain amount of time so that it changes the frequency. So yes, you can change the frequency of your name if you choose. So if you, let's just say you resonate with the number 1, you wouldn't resonate with the number 3, find a name that resonates with the number 3 and you have to write it over and over and over and over again. So let's just say, for example, you got to write it 10,000 times in the color orange. An orange pen, use an orange pen, write that shit 10,000 times before it actually has an effect. So just as an example, just throwing out some quick things out there so that you can work out with, test it out. So yes, numbers influence every aspect of our lives, and we can influence and change the numbers if we want to work with a different energy. So yes, all these things are possible. What does the name Anthony mean? So I don't know, we can break it down real quick. So yeah, before we get off here, I'll do this quick breakdown and we'll get up out of here. You know next to nothing about numerology, so definitely get familiar. You know what I mean? So definitely, I talk about numerology a lot, but I kind of hit it here and there. So I'm waiting for that. That's what I'm doing on my website. See, on the YouTube, I talk more so about astrology. But when like I said, I'm working on the membership site on my website, the membership side of my website, I'm gonna talk more about numerology there. So I don't really talk about numerology too heavy here on YouTube. But for, again, those who's interested in, I do know the science, but you have to get that on the website. So I have that in the works now. So that's why I haven't really talked too much about numerology, because you see it's a little bit more complex. It's a little bit more complex, but once you get a grasp of it, you know what I mean, it's like a walk in the park. How do you find a number that corresponds with your name? Well, I'm about to break down the word Anthony so that you can see exactly how you do it right now before we get up out of here. So, Anthony. So, every letter is associated with a number, right? So the number A, not the number A, the letter A is the number 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4, E is 5, etc., 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 till you get to Z, which is a 26th letter. So each letter is associated with a number. All you're doing is adding up the letters in your name. It's added up. So Anthony, we got A, which is the first letter. We got N, which is the 14th letter. We got T, which is the 20th letter. We got H, which is the 8th letter. We got O, which is the 15th letter. We got N, which is the 14th letter. We got Y, which is the 25th letter. Right? So we add all this up and we reduce it to one number. So let's do that right now. And again, you see, you got to know about heart. You don't see me pulling out a notepad, right? I already know it. So you can instantly activate it. So let's break down Anthony. So A is 1, N is 5, so 6. Then we got T, which is 2, which is 8. So 8, 8, H is 8, so we got 7, then O, which is 13, 4, N is 5, 9. So Anthony breaks down to 7, the number 7. So once you add all those numbers up and reduce it to a single number, you're gonna get the number 7. The number 7 resonates with K2, K-E-T-U, which is all about the spirit realm, the number 7, the number of God. So being able to perceive your godlyhood from a macrocosm level, from a universal level. So not just God on a human level, but God on a macrocosm level. I talked a little bit about that yesterday. So Anthony breaks down to 7. So if you want to know what vibration your name breaks down to, again, just break down the letters. Each letter is associated with a number. Then once you add up all those numbers and reduce it to a single number, then you get the vibration of your name. So that's how you do it, the easy way. Now there's other ways to do it, but that's the simplest way to do it. So if you want to know the vibration of your name, anybody's name, or any company, any business, anything, you break it down. You can also do this with addresses. You want to break down the address of which you live in. You know what I mean? So you can see what vibration influences your thought process. So let's just say, since we're talking about the number 5, let's just say you live in a house that breaks down to the number 5. Then you know that represents extraterrestrial mathematics. That represents being active. That represents your thoughts are being accelerated. That represents that you want to work out, you want to be active, you know what I mean? You just want to, your mind is moving the fastest. Mercury revolves around the sun quicker than any other planet. I think Mercury can go around the sun in like 89 days. The Earth takes 365 days. So Mercury then is just going like this. So whenever you're dealing with the energy of Mercury, that's basically what you're dealing with. You're dealing with this ultra hyper speed frequency. That's illustrated with the planet Mercury. So just giving you some quick tips, you know? Hopefully that's making sense. What is it, gematria? The numbers are different, absolutely. That's what I mean. There's many different ways to do it. You choose the one that makes sense to you. So however you choose to do it the way that makes sense to you. So if my method doesn't make sense, find another method. As long as you are doing it, just use a method. That's it. So just figure out a method that you want to use and perfect it. Is that why teachers in schools used to discipline kids by making them write phrases hundreds of times? You can say in a way, yes. In a way, yeah. So yeah, you write shit enough times, it embeds it within your subconscious mind. So yes, that is a reason why they make you do shit over and over again. Repetition. That's just how you program your subconscious mind. Repetition. So that is one way, not the way, but one way to program the subconscious mind through repetition. You know what I mean? What's my website? The website is asharenu.com. You know what I mean? Same thing with the YouTube, asharenu.com. Hold on, I'm receiving a call. I'll be right back at y'all. Hold on. I'm back, we back. Had to take the quick phone call, but we good. So I think I made my point clear. So I wanted to do all that before I lit up, you know. It's kind of windy, so I'm not even sure if I'm gonna be able to light this. So I want to get my point out before I lit up. So I'll light this up and we'll get up out of here. What's in the bottle? I just got this. So this is like super hydration. This is called body armor. And again, hold on, let me move this. These people ain't paying me, so I got this. It's like $2. You can get 2 for $3, or you can get a bigger one for 2 for $4. So you see it says coconut water right here. See, coconut water, whatever is natural, vitamins, yada, 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 all that good stuff. So this is good to keep you hydrated. Then of course, this is water at a pH level of 9.5. So for those who know about the pH levels of water, you know what I mean? So basically drinking some purified water and drinking some vitamins, coconut water, whatever. You know what I mean? Hard to find good water? Absolutely. So that's when you find it. This is like $1.29. Again, this is like $2. You know what I mean? But definitely stay hydrated. I encourage everybody, stay hydrated. And make sure you're drinking actual water as well. Because, you know, I used to be a person that was drinking all these and wasn't drinking enough water. But when I started working out, it's like my body will reject this. And it's like all it would want is actual water. So that's when I learned. So even if you're drinking vitamins and all this, make sure you actually have some actual water. So that when you working out and you're doing your exercises, you can continue to hydrate your body, because your body may not want this. Your body may reject it. See, I had to find out the hard way. So I may do a video, so, you know, when I show y'all me working out, doing my pull-ups, you know, doing all this stuff. I just be at the park doing all type of strange shit, standing on my head and just doing all type of acrobatic shit. You know what I mean? Just staying flexible. Let me see. Have I ever heard about alkaline water? Absolutely. I believe this is alkaline water. I believe. I don't fucking know, but yeah, the most alkaline water, the purest water you can drink is your own fucking urine. I know people don't want to hear that, but fuck it. Urine therapy. So drink a bunch of this. No, actually, get you a gallon of water. Get you a big jug of water, a gallon of water. Costs like $2. Get a gallon of water, drink that shit, so that when you piss, it's completely clear, no smell, no taste. Then start sipping on your urine. That's gonna hydrate you better than both of these can do. So these ain't shit compared to actual alkaline water. But of course, people don't want to hear that shit. But whatever. I'm just here to tell you the truth. So if you ain't trying to spend all your money on this shit, then make sure that your urine is pure. Drink a gallon of water. Keep your shit pure at all times. What's the astral significance of Valentine's Day? I did a whole video on the meaning behind Valentine's Day. I did a video on that already. I'm trying to think about the title of it. I don't know. I did. Just research it. It's on my page. I did a video the day after Valentine's Day, so I believe that's February 15th. So just go back in the archives and look at a video that I uploaded on February 15th. I talked all about Valentine's Day. So I already did that. So just go back to Valentine's Day on my page and you will see what I'm talking about. You say it is alkaline water? Yeah, exactly. No bubbles in the piss. But again, you know, everybody ain't ready for it. Everybody ain't ready for it. So again, so if you don't mind, if that's a little bit if that's too X-rated for you, then drink this. This is the best shit you can drink if you want to spend your money. You know what I mean? It ain't, or you know, coconut water, whatever you want to do. So let me try to light this up where the wind doesn't blow it out. So give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Let me get over here and light this up. Yeah, it's getting kind of crazy. Hold on. I'm gonna have to use this plastic bag. Give me 1 second here. You know, we just gotta keep it real. There's no need to hide this. I just bought a backwood too for my next fucking blunt. You know what I mean? So if you smoke blunts, make sure you fuck with the backwoods. You know, if you are a smoker. You know what I mean? So every now and then, like I said before, I take my breaks. I take a week off, maybe 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Tap back in. You gotta do everything in moderation. Everything in moderation, right? So never forget moderation, and make sure that you're drinking enough water, and make sure that you are exercising, that you stay active with your mathematics. So not just physically active, but mentally active. So don't use this to slow you down. This should not slow you down. This should accelerate you. So don't just smoke and be a couch potato. Smoke, take your ass outside, because this is to alter your mind. Unless you are doing CBD oil, for those who are fluent in in the hemp language. You have THC and you have CBD. CBD is what heals you. THC is psychoactive. If you're using marijuana for the THC, for the psychoactive properties to accelerate your mind, then you do that. If you're using it for the CBD oil to heal yourself, then do that. So that don't get you high. So the CBD don't get you high, the THC gets you high. So if you're using this to get high, being high is just accelerating your mathematics. So don't get high, then just, just lower your frequency. Get high and accelerate your frequency if that's what you choose to do. If you're not a person that like to get high, then just fuck with the CBD oil so that you can heal yourself. It all depends on what you want to do. So it all depends on how you grow the plant for those who are fluent in that language. You know what I mean? Exactly. You got to take breaks. You know what I mean? You don't want to build up an addiction for no reason, because you don't even be getting high as you can. Like, you smoke for a whole week, you're not going to be getting it as high as you did when you first started smoking that week. So you got to take some breaks so that you can rebuild your tolerance, or I guess lower your tolerance. Take breaks so that you can lower your tolerance so that you can fully enjoy it, if that's what you choose to do. So again, it's a method to every madness. So always remember that. So whenever you work alchemy, there's always a method to the madness. So don't be looking at what these rappers are doing. Don't be looking at what hip hop is doing. Don't be looking at what these celebrities is doing, because they have access to smoke these huge blunts and, drink all this alcohol and do all this, pop all these pills. Let them do that. Because again, if somebody's not claiming to be God and not claiming their godhood, then I expect them to be doing shit like that. But when you claiming your godhood, whatever it is that you do, you always do it in moderation, because you got to keep your mind sharp. You know what I mean? Because you claiming to be something divine. So you have to constantly keep your mind sharp. So you can't be out here slipping. You can't be out here fucking walking around looking like a zombie. You use this to accelerate your mind so that you can have an advanced conversation with people. People may be looking at you with your red eyes and all that shit, but I got something for the fucking red eyes too. I got this. I carry this around with me too. So I'm not walking around with the red eyes either. You know what I mean? We got to you got to stay hydrated. Make sure your eyes not red. So make sure you're not walking around looking high. Make sure you're not walking around smelling like weed. You know what I mean? You keep the cologne fresh. So that's what I encourage. If you do drugs, stay fresh, stay hydrated, stay active, stay in the gym, so that it doesn't bring you down. It actually accelerates you if that's what you choose to do. So let me actually put this in my eyes so my eyes won't get red before I even light this up. So I'm just giving y'all just tools and techniques. So give me 1 second. Okay. So you just pop this in. So now I ain't got to worry about red eyes. So I can walk around enjoying myself and not look like a zombie. You know what I mean? Do everything legit. Because I guess I'm technically not breaking the law at this point. It's legal, at least over here on the West Coast. So I'm technically not. So it ain't even about breaking the law. You just want to look presentable, even if this is what you do. Again, you want to stay hydrated. You know what I mean? You never know who you may come up to. It may be a beautiful woman walk past, and the last thing you want to do is, oh, I'm high. I'm not going to say nothing to her. Or whatever. It may be a dude. For the women that approach men, shout out to you. You know what I mean? With the brave hearts out there who don't give a fuck. So yeah, I'm going to light this and we're going to get up out of here. I'm not just going to be smoking right in y'all face, not saying nothing. So I'm at least, keeping the information flowing even if I'm doing this. So hold on. But again, it is super windy out here. I'm pretty sure y'all been hearing the wind the whole time. So give me 1 second. Let me make sure I can light this properly. Without burning this bag. Hold on. Just give me a few seconds here. This should be good. Voila. All right, we're good. So again, we'll be on here a few more minutes. You got any questions? Ask the questions now. You got any questions before we get up out of here? You let me know right now before we get out. So any questions, y'all let me know what's up. Somebody broke into your car, you didn't let it get you down. You ended up having great sex at the end of the day and manifesting a new stream of income. See, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, don't let your circumstances determine your mood. You may be going through absolute hell, but if you have heaven in your mind, that's going to influence what actually happens. So in other words, again, you may be going through hell, but if you keep your mind in heaven, you can still come out on top each and every day. And that's the point. The point's every day win. Every day you win. You can come out on top every single day if you keep your mind in heaven. Keep your mind focused on accelerated mathematics. So again, I'm not doing this to be cool and all that. This ain't about being cool. This ain't about cool points. It ain't about this is just a thing to do. Everybody got their thing. It is what it is. Again, like I said, just make sure you do things in moderation. Make sure you stay hydrated. Make sure you stay active. Make sure you stay mentally sharp. Don't allow this or anything else. So if you popping pills, you sipping lean, whatever you do, just stay active, stay hydrated. Don't allow your body to become dehydrated. Because that's what most people suffer from. Dehydration and sleep deprivation. Dehydration and sleep deprivation. So don't go out here being sleep deprived and don't go out here being dehydrated. So make sure you keep water on you, no matter what it is that you're doing. It also helps you accelerate your melanin as well. How can you use the law of rhythm to avoid the lows? See, what you do is this. Just like in the book, what is the book called? The book is called by the Three Initiates. They talk about the universal laws, the Kabbalion. There we go, the Kabbalion. They say the law of rhythm is like a pendulum swinging, right? It's going to always swing to the right and left. You can't stop this swing. But what you can do, is you can get on top of the pendulum. So it's swinging and you can be on top of it, looking down at the swing. So pretty much the swing is just life is going to happen. Life is going to happen. It's going to be days when your money is right. It's going to be days where your money is kind of funny. It's going to be days where you happy in a relationship. It's going to be days when you by your fucking self. There's going to be days when you cool with certain people. There's going to be certain days when you beefed out with people. Life is going to happen, right? But if you stay on top of this pendulum swing and you look down at the pendulum swing, you just realize that, yo, life happens, right? Exactly, like salsa and tego, life happens, right? Stay on top of the pendulum swing and look down at it. So you don't avoid the law, you just stay on top of it. You just have mastery. You master the law of rhythm. That's how you avoid the lows, because you know that the lows will happen. But again, you stay in mental heaven. Even when the lows are happening, you keep your mind in heaven because you realize, oh, it's just the pendulum is just at the right now. I just got to wait till it turn back to the left. That's it. So there's going to be times where you fucked up. There's going to be times where you good. It's just a pendulum swing. But when you can still be God, in the highs and lows, you master the law. Just like that. Again, there's times where I don't smoke. You still God, right? You still the supreme being. It ain't determined on what you're doing physically. It's about everything is mental. Exactly, Hermeticism. What are my thoughts on weed paired with meditation? Weed and meditation? That's what I use it for. If people want to know what I use weed for, I use it to accelerate my mathematics. Again, I'm not doing it because it's cool, because it makes your eyes red, because it calms you down. This is sativa. Sativa is more mental. Indica is more body high, you know, the couch potato. A lot of people like smoking indica. This is sativa. Sativa accelerates you. Sativa is supposed to give you energy. So again, it accelerates you mentally. So with meditation, I would say if you smoke sativa and make your meditation active. Be active in your meditation, meaning go outside and walk around. Do a walking meditation. Do a jogging meditation. You know what I mean? So always be active with this. Don't allow this to slow you down or anything else. Be active in whatever it is that you do. So active meditation with weed is the most supreme thing you can do, because it will show you more. It will show you more because you start to see your mind manifest more. Now, of course, you know, if you want to be passive in your meditation, then you have plenty of time to sleep. Most people sleep 8 hours a day. Cut your sleep down to 4 hours a day. Then you got an extra 4 hours on your hand. And if you want to meditate, then you got a whole 4 hours to meditate. You know what I mean? So like that. If you already sleep 4 hours, cut that shit down to 2. Because again, we don't even fully know what the human body is capable of. We don't even know how the human body fully works yet. I don't care about how many books have been written. There's still mysteries in the human body that have not been discovered yet. All right? But that's neither here nor there. Is chess a good way to expand your mind? Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, if you know how to play chess, if chess is something that you're fine to, get it in. Become faster with your movements. You know how some people play chess with a timer, so they got to do it quickly? Get to that place. Get to a place where you can do it quick. So not just a person that's sitting there thinking about moves for 9 minutes. Be a person that can be accelerated with their movements. So you're constantly moving the pieces quicker. Become quicker in your movement of the pieces. That's that number 5. That's that Mercury spirit. That's the trickster spirit. That's the gateway spirit. That's the soul Beck. That's the messenger of God. There's many, many ways. That's the Hermes. And there's an emphasis on Hermes. What's Hermes' ability is to move quickly, right? So that's why you see Hermes with, like, he has these special feet that he's able to move quickly. There's an emphasis on feet in Las Vegas. Again, it's to see that from number 5. So there's an emphasis on soccer and there's an emphasis on skateboarding. Meaning you see those activities a lot more than any other activities. There's an emphasis on anything that has something to do with the feet. That's emphasized a little bit more than other ways of activity or other ways of exercise, so on and so forth. So again, accelerate your movements when you play chess or anything that you are into. Just be able to accelerate your movements. Do I sleep facing southeast? I personally get the best results when I sleep to the north. When I sleep to the north, I tend to get the best results. But it all depends on what you're trying to do personally. Because you're supposed to sleep from north to south, because you just think of the earth. The earth is like a giant magnet. Then there's certain frequencies and waves that come through the north and the south, and there's certain frequencies and waves that come from the east to the west. You should be working from the east to the west. So wherever you got your laptop, wherever you got your desk, wherever your workstation is, should be facing from east to west. Then when you actually want to be passive and you want to meditate and be, you know, tap into the feminine, you know, going to sleep, the negative, you know what I mean, the astral, then you do that facing north to south. Now, I encourage everybody to try that. Don't just take my word for it. Reposition your furniture and see if that is effective for you. And once you see that it is effective for you, then you will know why you should be sleeping in a certain direction and why activity should be in a different direction. Because again, just always look at the earth as a giant magnet, just like the human body is a giant magnet. You got your masculine side, you got your feminine side. It's just, you know what I mean? So everything is always polar, the law of polarity. So everything is polarized. So we just got to take that perspective into life, you know. So hopefully that answers your question. How do you manipulate time? You concentrate your thought. For example, it's like when you're thinking about something deeply, then you're able to think faster. When you think faster, time slows down. What do I mean by that? That's why you can have a dream that feels like it lasted 8 hours, but then only 1 hour passed physically. When you concentrate your thought, you start to think faster. So the faster you think, you start to think faster than time is going. So you're able to outthink time. When you're able to outthink time, or basically this is basically being in a trance state. This is when most people are in this state, they're having dreams. For those who are, the yogis and the gurus and, those who are spiritually inclined, this is the trance state. So this is a state where they go into an astral projection while being in a trance state. So while being, in a half lotus position, they're able to project themselves into the astral plane without actually having to be asleep. So this is called a trance state. So in this trance state, it's like you're able to outthink time, or time comes to a cease. So you're able to think at such an accelerated level that time isn't even moving, because you're just thinking at a hyper speed that's just going faster than time. So how to manipulate time? You speed up your thoughts, or you become more active when you are in these trance states. Basically the state right before you go to sleep. You know how you feel right before you go to sleep. It's those moments right before you go to sleep and you start to have visions, but you're not necessarily fully asleep just yet. So you start to have visions right before you go to sleep. And if you're not experiencing visions, just make sure you don't eat or drink anything 5 or 6 hours before you actually lay down, if you want to enhance your visuals. So that trance state that you were in, slightly, so it's about 20 minutes, you start to see visuals. You start to project yourself into the astrals. You start to have more control over that. Most people, again, don't have control over. This is why most people don't have control over their dreams, because again, there's all of this external stimulation, this external matrix sucks away the spiritual energy, so that when you actually lay down and go to sleep, you're just so exhausted, then you just want to go to sleep. You're not trying to okay, I just was active 8 to 12 hours. I'm not trying to be active in my dreams. I'm trying to actually rest. So they really don't have enough energy. Now, of course, you can gain energy. Let's just say meditating 20 minutes before you actually went to sleep, and practice deep breathing, and practice, expanding your consciousness to certain points of your body and just being active in your imagination. You do that 20 minutes before you go to sleep. Then you can start to see that you can have more control over your visuals. So the more control you start to gain over your visuals and be more active in this trance state and being able to project yourself astrally while still being conscious of your body, this is the macro and the microcosm. So you're able to, you're able to expand yourself. Again, these are all the secrets of the number 7, the number of God. So this is when you're aware of your macrocosm, and you are actually projecting yourself outwardly on purpose. So you just start doing things more on purpose, as opposed to these are things you just so happen to wake up in a dream, or you just so happen to remember your dream. Like when you start actively controlling all of these things, you start to see everything completely different. You start to manipulate time. So your sense of time becomes heightened and accelerated. So hopefully that answered the question. How do you teach your kids to think critically? You just have to say things on their level. You know what I mean? So the reason we're even asking, how do you teach kids to do this, or how do you teach kids to do that? Because we have to really understand things. Because you see, when kids like to ask questions, and most people get annoyed because they really don't know how to answer the question, because if you say why too many times, you wouldn't know the answer. For example, when they start asking about the laws of physics, then if you're not skilled in knowing what the laws of physics are, then it becomes kind of complicated to answer certain questions. Now, we are fortunate to be in times where we all have access to the internet so we can get the answers instantly. But if you try to get the answers naturally by using your mind, by actually thinking, so kids actually force you to think. And because most people are not used to actually thinking, it frustrates them. It's very frustrating to think because they make you think. So when you're really having that exchange and that back and forth, like when somebody's mind who doesn't necessarily see things the way we see them, because their mind is in a more infant level, so they understand things, it's more simplified. So they understand things on a very simplistic level. So we're not able to speak in the simplest of forms, then it's going to, it's going to go over their head. So we have to learn how to simplify our words and our experiences. And the best way to simplify things is to use actual life, where you don't need to go on the internet, and you can use the actual, whatever question they ask, you can give them an answer in real life. You can say, okay, look at this. You see how the trees, the leaves on the trees move? Okay, these are the laws of physics, and yada, yada, yada. Being able to explain that in a simplistic way. So you're not even saying the laws of physics. You can say it in a simplistic way where they can comprehend it. You may be able to use a reference to something they are already familiar with. So if they like to play a certain game, then you can use references of a certain game. Like whatever their favorite activity is, you can use a reference in their favorite activity. So you can explain the law of physics simply because you understand what the laws of physics is, and you just okay, let me find the vessel to explain this. So I have to speak their language. So if I'm speaking their language, which is in the most simplest of forms, just asking why, ask why like 5 times. Why does that happen? Okay, why do the trees move? What moves the trees? You know what I mean? Like, is you really asking yourself why? What moves the trees? Yada, yada, yada. So hopefully that answered the question. Exactly. You can't do effective dream work if you're too tired. That's why 20 minutes before you sleep, you must practice deep breathing so that you can gain more energy. You need energy. You're absolutely right. So that 20-minute meditation before sleep is absolutely essential if you're trying to do, anything spiritual, anything in the dream world, anything astrally, just being more conscious of that whole process of being able to exist in accelerated thought. So when you are in dream time, basically you are in a state of time not moving, which is your thoughts are moving faster than time. So to be able to stay conscious in that accelerated frequency, you have to have energy. So a 20-minute meditation before sleep is absolutely essential. And you can also do exercise. Stretch your body, make sure you're good, make sure you know what I mean, you sleep into the north or whatever works for you. You make sure that you have a cup of water under your bed or by your head with sea salt so it absorbs any negative energy. If you have crystals, put crystals around your bed. Sleep, sleep with at least no shirt on. Make sure you're not sleeping with a shirt on. Male or woman, make sure the shirt is off so that the energy can flow. Or if you must have clothes on, make sure that the clothes are black. Wear black. If you wear clothes to sleep, make sure that you wear black. Because we all know about the color black, right? It absorbs. So it's going to help absorb energy so that you can be more aware. So definitely that's absolutely essential. 20-minute meditation before you do any spiritual work. So definitely binaural beats, isochronic tones, whatever you need, ASMR. Whatever tools you need to get the job done, get the job done. So you know what I mean? So that's why I don't focus too heavy on whatever tools you use. Whatever tools you use is up to you to use. So however you tap in, whatever process you use, as long as you get the job done, that's all that matters. As long as it works, it works. There's no need to discuss nothing else. So definitely 20-minute meditation by binaural beats, orgone crystals. Whatever tools you have, use them. Use whatever you have available to yourself and make it happen. So we definitely gonna get up out of here. I appreciate everybody for tuning in, watching. Definitely if you liked the video, thumbs up, leave a comment if you want to add on to the topic or conversation. And I'll be right back at y'all. Peace. We out.